Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation, and each of these episodes will probably get a little shorter and a little shorter because we've already worked through the big intuitive ideas. We were just iterating the logic, and again, we've already done this entire process. So a bit of, it's what I would say big conceptual or intuitive jumps or progress, along with a little bit of derivation. But right, we're condensing a proof. Language is condensing over the whole species, and this proof is going to come to a finalizing theorem. And so, kind of a good place to address. Again, we've covered it, but the question in physics or in astronomy or cosmology, they'll say, why did the universe start with a very low period of entropy? Why was everything very ordered? You put something on a table, you leave something be, it's going to tend to disorder, right? And energy or entropy is all of our energy that is not available to be used for work. And so you could probably say something like energy is not in its tensed state, right? In the same way you tense your muscles, you're getting ready to move. If there's a sound wave going away from me, I can't tense that energy to move. And so the reason, again, is these phase changes, right? We live in 3 dimensions. You need 3 components to describe the entire environment for directions, up, down, left, right, forward, and backward. And so the reason you have, again, it's not the universe, it's R3. So when we have this fundamental stability of 2, again, that occurred as a phase change of the entire universe. And so nobody's ever seen energy. Nobody has ever interacted with energy, whether it's a human being or some alien on planet, whatever. All measurements come from R3. And so we have this intuition, right? In the same way you read a book and then you don't remember everything, but you have intuition. Mass contains energy. Energy stabilized into mass. And so these physical properties of energy is contained within mass. Hence E equals mc squared. And so in the same way you have a billiard ball and you break the cue or you break the rack and all the balls go all over the place. Now, if there's planets or if they're galaxies, they settle into predictable patterns, predictable orbits. And so at the universal level, it's you break the pool ball rack, and it doesn't even need to be spheres. It is spheres, but that's not really the point of the analogy. It's just maximum. I'm trying to think of a way because the universe doesn't reach because of geometry. There is no physical way to reach total, have entropy be 0. It doesn't exist, right? 0 doesn't represent anything. It can't represent anything. And so when you go from from the R2, when there was energy, vibrations R1, energy is R2, frequency and something else. We went through all that. The point being is the reason you have this really, in the same way we're condensing language, when the universe on its phase changes approached 0 entropy, it re-expands because of geometry. And so again, that's after your initial phase change is when your billiard balls break and scatter everywhere, and then they settle into patterns. That's why it's not really a good analogy. But if you just look at the scatterings or interactions of galaxies or of planets, they settle into patterns. And so when you approach maximum efficiency and then you can't geometrically, everything expands out. You stabilize a new physical principle, charge, that charge repulses, and you have electricity, magnetism. So we've already covered that. I just wanted to re-say that for some reason. But again, just renormalizing this proof. Every time I get to a place where you would need any sort of intuitive reminder, I guess I just bring up. But revelationality reveals. Revelation, sensation. Revelation is the opposite of censorship, right? If you're revealing something, you're not censoring something. Experientiality, exponentiationality. Sensorality is exponentiationality. Just lining up the syllables. Sensorality, CENSER-ality, ernts, right? We covered that, talking about how that's the sound you make for a buzzer, for something going wrong, for running out of time. A sensor ernts. And so that's kind of like our fundamental physical thing, doesn't matter. But sensorality is cerntality. Said it last episode, I should have just carried it on. Here we did. Because like I said, a lot of times I do this derivation while I'm editing the previous episode. Sensorality discerns, right? Discern. And you can see that ERN right in there. Differentiationality is discernmentality, right? If you differentiate something, you can discern it, right? Precision versus accuracy. Accuracy gives you the number specific, a very specific number to what the actual real value is. Precision gives you just a really specific number. Business is economical. Sensorality is economicality, right? If you go get a plane ticket and you get an economy class, why are we calling that economical, right? The most people can get the average person, that's economy class. What association have we made there? A bargain is economical. And now here we have a deal is a bargain. A bargain gains bar, right? Showing you a natural definition. Bargain, bar, gain. Another one of these what I call amalgamated words, or appearing to be amalgamated. I made that differentiation. Is it real? Is it legitimate? Again, we're trying to force this faux pas, this false not, this very clear something that doesn't add up, and then we have the right solution, sensorality, to solve it. But remember, a censor, C-E-N-S-E-R, is a bar. Barring excludes. Barring a bargain. Again, the point is it just needs to be logically consistent. Barring a bargain. So, right, if you bar and you're barring something, you can separate that into the word bar, B-A-R, and the word ring, R-I-N-G, without adding or subtracting any letters. And so you can obviously expand bargain, bar, and gain. Why did I do that? Again, I don't know. But again, it's just intuitively, these words just have feelings, they pop up, and I write them on down. What is fourth? Not like third, fourth, fifth, but like back and forth. If you're rocking a baby, what are you doing? I'm soothing my baby. What are you doing? You're forming a rhythm, right? Rhythm soothes. Rhythm is smooth. But back and forth. Why does that terminology be forced to the front of our species? But back and forth is rocking. Rocking is rhythmic. And clearly rocking is just rock with an ing at the end. But here was the big intuitive thing, right? So we proven with good intuition. I think it's proven. And again, it doesn't really matter these differentiations. When I put blue letters or green letters, it doesn't really matter. Because the finalizing thing will be undeniable. And science team already knows it. And they're committing a bunch of crimes. And I'm sitting here doing this derivation again because I literally have nothing else to do. I'm the victim of crime. But we had censors, C-E-N-S-E-R, it exists, and then sensor, S-E-N-S-O-R, exists. But when your washing machine says it's a sensor with an S, it doesn't have sensation, it doesn't have sexuality, it doesn't have sensuality, very clearly giving you the motivation. The things that start with S are to sentient beings, including sentience. All right, and so we're connecting differentiations already made, and these differentiations are made by the species as a whole. And species isn't even really well defined. So those are two forms of censor. Those are the correct, consistent spellings to it is what it is, preserving that general form of solution. And so, but now, right, if something is good and then something is more good than that, what is it? It's better, right? If it's something's better than better, it's the best, right? But my point is if it ends in ER, we've made that differentiation to say it's an inanimate object. But now, why do we put and I remember I told you it's jumping out at me all over the place. Why do we put to say more? And we do, for everything. I'm happy. Well, I'm happier. I'm sad. Well, I'm sadder. I'm good. Well, I'm gooder. Right? Why do we have that word better? Right? Going, gone. Not really to but then we have that numeric limit of 1, 2, fundamental stability, and then an open definition. And so ER is also used to indicate more very clearly. So how does that reconcile or not reconcile with the words ending in ER being inanimate objects? Because remember, if you have anything that ends in OR and then you put ality at the end, it generalizes to the complete word orality. And obviously inanimate objects don't have oral. They don't speak. Get your head out of the gutter. I know where your head went. So again, we're boiling this all down to a very simple logical something in our solution sensorality. We already know what the answer is. That's the fun part. We just need to find this right question. And we find the right question by literally one foot in front of the other. One fact, next fact, next fact, next fact, and then something won't make any sense. And it'll be very apparent, and our solution's already ready to go. Disclosure disseminates. Sensorality seminates. Insemination impregnates. Sensorality inseminates. Seminality is prime. Fluency is seminal, right? If something is seminal, it's influential. Fluency's natural definition is influential. It literally spells out fluent. Therefore, seminality is fluency. Yeah. That is what I have for you today. Again, we got to be dialing in. My rights continue to be violated. Each day I lose another day of my life. I will never get it back. I have no family, I have no friends, I have no career, I have no nothing. I just sit here at my parents' house, and I have no expectation for anything to change. But I just continue to remind everybody you're committing crimes, and to the people in the future, enforce the law. Show no respect to any of these people, and just enforce the law. To their whole families, to everybody. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.